Welcome to Daily Armor. Today we're going to be in 2 Chronicles chapter 31, looking at verse number 4, still speaking about encouragement. We talked about how we can be encouraged in a group setting, whether it's, within your family, whether it's, a couple that's grouped together, whether it's with your church family, with your work family, whatever, kind of group participation that you participate in, you can encourage one another. You can be encouraged together. There's such a wonderful encouragement doing things together. We talked about personal encouragement. We've talked about how the Lord will lay, on your heart to encourage someone individually, that it was God's idea for them to be encouraged. Moses was told to encourage Joshua. So there's that specific encouragement that's giving, and then there's that personal encouragement that we also can receive, and we have to take upon ourselves. Remember that that David was encouraged. He encouraged himself, not a pep talk. He encouraged himself in the Lord his God. And so today we're going to be talking about the encouragement that's given through giving. How giving is an encouragement. Not just an encouragement to the recipient, but the encouragement to the giver. So let's look at 2 Chronicles 31 and verse number 4. It says, "Moreover, he commanded the people that dwelt in Jerusalem to give the portion of the priest and the Levites that they might be encouraged, in the law of the Lord." So the Levites had a very large responsibility, a responsibility that was given to them by the Lord. It wasn't something they chose. They didn't choose to not receive an inheritance, and that's exactly what God had said. He said they're not to receive an inheritance. They're not going to receive an inheritance because the Lord said that He has set them apart. He said they're mine. He was saying, I'm going to be responsible for them. They're not going to receive a normal inheritance like everybody else. They're not going to have a portion of land, because God was intending on using the Levites throughout all of they weren't going to be only over here. They were going to have a portion throughout that was going to be marked off for them, that was going to be reserved for them, because they were God's, and God was going to have a portion of them spread throughout all of the tribes. They were going to live and work and serve amongst all of the tribes, not just have a separate space like everybody else. And in saying that, the Lord was saying, these are mine. I've got a special purpose, a special plan for the tribe of Levi, and you are to give unto them, because it's going to encourage them to continue to do the work of the Lord. So this was going to help them in their duties. It was a great responsibility, a great undertaking that they were given, but God was going to provide for them through the giving of others, so everybody could be a part of God's work. And that's how it still works today. That's how it works in our local churches that we are to be a part of. If you're a child of God, then you should be a part of a church family. And being a part of that church family, you should want to give, and you should want to participate. And when we participate, oh man, it's so special. We believe in tithing, as tithing is spoke of all throughout the scriptures, not just in the Old Testament, but also in the New. But as tithing is taught, then when we put that into practice, and that's something that I put into practice early in my walk with the Lord, and I've never had any regrets, and God has always supplied my needs. And He's even thrown in there some wonderful, wonderful blessings along the way. But in doing so, it's made me a part. That's how He chose to make us be a part of a group, a part of our family. That when we have to give of our time, when we are giving our time, we're giving our resources. And this is not just talking about giving. I'm not just speaking about the encouragement of giving your money. But you can give so much more than that. You may not have any to give. You may not, and I'm not telling you to not tithe, because I can't afford not to tithe. I don't want to think of, every time I run across that verse, and I believe it's in Malachi, and have you robbed from God? I mean, I'm like, have I missed anything? Have I failed a tithe in any area of my life? I don't want to rob the Lord. That would just crush me to rob the Lord. He has instructed us to give because it's healthy. It's healthy for us to be the giver, and it's healthy for the recipient. Obviously, it's going to be healthy for the recipient. But that's how we share in one another's burdens, and we become personally involved in others' life through giving. And we can give so much more than our money. Some people like to just give. Here, just let me hand you this. And then they're done. So some people want to give of their money because that's easy and that requires very little of them. Maybe that they have, they're giving out of their abundance. They're not giving out of what they have left, it's not a hard thing for them to give, but maybe they're giving out of their abundance and they're like, $20 ain't going to be no different to me. I'll give you that if that'll make you go away. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about really the kind of giving that encourages, when you're given to missions, when you're given to your Sunday school class, when you're given to your family, to your friends, to your neighbors. There's so much more to give than just giving some kind of monetary something, because sometimes that's the easiest thing that we can do. But it's still, God still uses it as a blessing, but sometimes that's the easiest thing that we can do. But when we stop and go further than just what we can give monetarily or financially, but we go, if you want to share your food, if you want to share what you have with someone else. I saw that happen here at church. Just a few weeks ago, I had a little thing for the youth in the back and had some games and stuff set up for them. And I had a little drawing, a little door prizes. And one of the girls in my Sunday school class won one of the door prizes, and it was a big old giant can. It was a beautiful Christmas can, but it was full of Cheetos. And another girl was like, "Oh, I love those." And she did, nothing was said, nothing was thought of. And then come by Sunday morning, I come to Sunday school, and that can is in the classroom, and it's got a note on it from the girl who received it, who won it. And she said, "I want to share this." And she wanted to share it with the other girl because she said she liked that. She wanted to share what she shared her food. And that was a great encouragement to me to know that was happening in church and in our Sunday school class, that it was so sweet of her to want to give and share what she had. And she wasn't there that Sunday to share with us. So I told him, I said, we're going to wait on her to come back. She was, visiting or on vacation. She was on vacation. So she was on vacation, and I'm like, she should have took that on vacation, but she left it for us. And so we're going to save it, and we're going to keep it, and then we're going to share it back with her. So we shared back with her. There's also, that you can share your time, and time is very valuable. And time is very personal to each and every person. My time is, this morning, trying to decide what I needed to do for the day. And I made a list, I'm a list maker. I have made lists since I was a child. I've all kinds of lists, goals, to-do list, things that I don't want to forget, things. So I am a list maker. And I was making out my list this morning, and I'm like, Lord, I don't have, first of all, this is normal that I make out a list that's way more things to do than I have the day to do it in, that I have the time that I can do it in. But Lord, this is a list of everything that needs to be done. Some of it doesn't have to be done today. Lord, you know what needs to be done today, and you know what needs to be waiting to be done tomorrow. I feel so relieved that responsibility is not on me. I know what needs to be done. I don't know when it needs to be done. God does. I know that these are things that are important, and everything that is important will get done. And I want God to decide. So I go to him and I ask him, and I'm like, Lord, this is what, and so many times something comes up within my day, and I'm sure it does with your day, that you're not even expecting, that just comes out of the blue. And I am absolutely knowing that's going to happen, that something's going to change. Several things are going to change about my day, and I may not even get to but maybe one of those things, because I'm not in control. God is in control. But our time is valuable. And I don't want to be found wasting my time. I don't want to waste my time on doing things that are not actually important. I don't want to dilly-dally on things that are of no value. I want to be working and doing those things that are valuable and that do a service for the Lord, to the Lord, that are serving my family, my church, my friends, my neighbors, and ultimately the Lord. I want to serve the Lord. And I know that by serving the Lord, He's going to instruct me of when and where to serve in all these other places. So we can share our time. And when you take the time out, even if it's just for a moment, to maybe that you send a note of encouragement, that you send a text of encouragement, that you make a phone call. Some of the most wonderful things that you can do for somebody is to stop and pray for them, to stop and intervene in prayer for them. That is so valuable, and it is such an encouragement. You don't even always know why that you're needing to pray for somebody. You may, and sometimes you never find out why. But then later, sometimes a little bit later, God lets you in on some things. And you'll go back to, oh yeah, they were on my mind that other day. And I just stopped and prayed for them the other day, and I didn't even know what it was about. Maybe it's somebody hadn't even thought of in a little while. Maybe, hadn't even thought of in a month or so. And you just I need to stop and pray for you. And I've had that happen. And even woke up in the middle of the night praying for somebody, and not even expecting to see them, not to maybe even see them the next day or within that week, or hear from them, maybe receive a phone call or a text from them, or see them out somewhere, or see them at church, or they come by for a visit unexpectedly. I'm like, oh my gosh, I was just thinking about you, and I stopped to pray for you. And then you find out that they were going through something hard and something difficult, and God had you to stop and encourage them through your prayers. They didn't even know you were praying, but God was going to encourage them, and He was going to use your prayers to do that. And there's and not just our time, we can be a good listener. You can spend your time listening to somebody. You're not wasting it when you're investing in the lives of other people. You are not wasting your time when you are investing in others. And another thing that you can do is that you can help. You can actually help out. Physically help. Get the door. Take something from them if they're going through something, and if you can participate in any way, any small gesture is an encouragement to them. They're gonna be like, oh, that's one thing off my list. I have been a recipient of that many, many times. I've tried to be a giver of that many, many times, where I'm trying to think, how can I help? What can I do? I do that for my family, to the point where sometimes I'm like, I love to do for that. I have to let the Lord decide, this is what you can do for this one today, and this is what you can do for that one tomorrow. And I have to let the Lord decide what gets done, because I will overbook myself if I'm not careful, because I like to give myself to my family and to my friends, and I love giving to my church. I love those opportunities to come and to serve here at the church behind the scenes, especially behind the scenes. I am not a normal one to be in the spotlight, to be on the camera, to be up in front of a group of people. That's not where I'm most comfortable. I'm most comfortable behind the scenes and getting things organized and prepared, and thinking of details. And that's just where I love to spend my time. But God ultimately divides me up however He chooses to, because I just want to be pliable in His hands. And also, when I get the opportunity to teach, I love to teach. I love teaching Sunday school. I love serving in that way. I love participating, getting the kids involved in the participating of that. Last year for our Wednesday night group, there was a lesson that I was teaching, and they were just being taught that at their Christian school. Some of my students go to Christian school, and they were being taught that same. We were like going through some of the same scriptures through their curriculum, and then through what the Lord had gave me to do for that year. And they were like, Miss Teresa, I could teach that. And I'm like, well, would you want to? And then she was like, you know what? I really would. And so then I had hands raised. Miss Teresa, I want to teach one Wednesday night. Miss Teresa, I want to teach one Wednesday night. And I had been teaching them, but not only teaching them, but teaching them how to teach. So I was excited all last year that I was, and not all, then I didn't force them to participate. But if they wanted to give it a try, if they wanted to do it, I was teaching them how to teach. I'm trying to invest in them that one day I'm not going to be here. One day I'm going to get, too old for this, or the Lord's going to take me out of here, and somebody's going to have to step up to the plate and teach. And so we can teach others what we know. If you know how to sew, teach somebody how to sew. If you know how to cook, teach somebody how to cook. If you know how to knit, teach somebody how to knit. If you know how to plant a garden, teach somebody else how to plant a garden. If you know how to teach somebody else how to teach. And those of us that teach, I'm always learning. I've never arrived. I'm always learning. I want to get better and better at my craft, at what God has placed in my lap to do. I want to improve more and more and more. And so, I appreciate those people that want to share something with me. Have you ever tried this? Have you ever tried that? Could you use this? Sometimes I'll have things left in here in my classroom. That is a great encouragement to me. Somebody will leave something and say, you know what? We thought maybe you could use this. We thought maybe this would help you in your class. We know that you do, crafts with them sometimes, and we know that you do, different activities with them, and maybe this would help you. And so they'll leave me some supplies, or they'll have been to a store and they see something that they think, hey, she might could use that. If a pack of crayons, or a pack of paper, or whatever, that this is something that I might could use. Sometimes I'll find it left in my classroom. And what a great encouragement for somebody to be out somewhere and to see something and say, you know what, Miss Teresa might could use that. And you know what, when you do that for somebody else, wow, does it make them feel special, and it gives them encouragement, and they just feel like sometimes I've come in here and I've been like tired and weak and weary, and I'm like, oh my goodness. And sometimes I'll find something that's been left for me, and I'm like, Lord, that was like a fresh drink of water. That was like a fresh breath of air. I'm ready to get back to work. And so you don't even know when you're being an encouragement to somebody else. Another way that we can give, in giving your testimony. When you're giving your testimony, you're giving the gospel of Jesus Christ. That is the best, most wonderful gift that you could give. That is the best encouragement that you can give to anyone, is to share your testimony. When I was thinking about giving, and I was asking the Lord, I was praying at the altar, and I was asking the Lord, help me with this devotion today. It's about giving. And I don't want people to think this is about money, even though it is. But that's not the whole thing. That's not the main priority. But the giving of every avenue that we can give, I would think that I was looking back and thinking back, Lord, what would be like the best thing that I was ever gifted? What was the best gift I ever received? And it was Jesus Christ. And when I share Jesus, I'm giving that opportunity to somebody else. And how that was gifted to me was in two ways. Well, actually in three ways. I was taught the Word of God through Pastor Lockie, Preacher Lockie, who I just adore and I miss. He shared the gospel. He taught me through God's Word, through preaching. I heard the Word. And he would make a comment, and I know if you've been following me any length of time, probably have heard me say this, is your name written in the Lamb's Book of Life? That's something he would say. That's just something he would say from time to time. And I would always think, I think so. I hope so. But there would always be that little part of me that would be like, why does that scare me? Why does that worry me? And I would just ponder that. I would just consider that. And then through the course of time, I also heard a second way that was such a tremendous encouragement to me, and what a gift that was given to me, was hearing people's testimonies. And there would be a select few, one in particular that was just absolutely a blessing. And I would hear her testimony, and she was an older lady who was just as excited at her age, just as excited about being saved as the day that she was saved, which I think she was about 15 years old when she was telling about when she got saved. If I'm not mistaken, she was about 15 or 16, somewhere through there. And she would tell it with such excitement and such enthusiasm that encouraged me. It encouraged me. It made me think. It made me wonder. And I started looking at her, and I started saying, you know what, Lord, I'm not sure I've got what she's got, but I want it. She is sharing her gift. She was sharing her testimony, and I'm telling you what, it was valuable. I started asking for things. I started asking for testimonies. She shared hers freely. I didn't ask for hers, but the other thing that was gifted to me that was so valuable was that I started asking a couple of people, asked two people to share with me their testimonies. And that was my best friend Donna, and that was my husband Todd. And I probably had made them recite their testimony to me numerous times, because I was still processing it. They were gifting it to me. It was encouraging me. It was encouraging me to think. It was encouraging me to consider, Lord, am I okay, or am I not okay? Lord, I want to be right with you, and I don't want to miss going to heaven, and I want to know you personally. And that's what I couldn't get through my head. Is I knew a lot about the Lord. I absolutely knew so much about the Lord, because I had been in church now for, at the time, for about 8 years. I'm a note taker. I'm a studier. I liked school. I'm one of those crazy people that I did actually like school. I liked studying. I liked learning. I still love studying. I still love learning. Can't seem to learn or study enough. And I'm just in the Word. And I liked Sunday school. I learned so much in Sunday school class. And through all of that knowledge that I was receiving, I had a lot of head knowledge of the Lord. But I kept thinking through Miss Triplett, which was the older lady at church that was sharing her testimony with such enthusiasm, as if she was 15 again, or 16, however old it was that she was when she got saved. And she would share that, and I would watch her giving her testimony, and I knew I didn't have what she had, and I wanted it. And I was like, Lord, I must need to achieve it. I'm going to study harder. I'm going to listen more. I'm going to take more notes. I'm going to dig in there, and Lord, I'm going to go after it. But it wasn't anything that I couldn't achieve it. That's the encouragement that you give with a gift. A gift isn't something you earn, isn't something that you have to attain. It's not really a gift. It's a wage. If you had to earn it, it's a wage. And the wages of sin is death. That's what I earned. I earned my right for death. I earned my way for that. You ever heard anybody say, well, you earned that spanking today? And I think I've heard others say that they've heard that a time or two. And I'm not gonna let you miss that opportunity, because you earned it. You deserve this. You deserve this. Being grounded or getting a spanking or whatever kind of discipline that's required. You've earned it because you worked for it. You worked pretty hard for it, to be deceitful and to do all these things. But I was trying to earn my way to heaven, and I couldn't. And then that Monday night, the greatest gift that was ever shared with me. And a gift isn't about being deserving. It's about just loving somebody. And when you're giving, don't give out of obligation. Don't give, out of but give out of love. Give your tithes, but give it out of love. Give your time, give it out of love. Share your food, give it out of love. Share your knowledge so you can teach somebody else, and share and give that and teach that out of love. Loving on others, and share your testimony out of love. Share your testimony out of love, and share the gospel out of love, out of not wanting someone else to go out of here lost and undone without the Lord, to want everyone to go to heaven, and to want everyone to serve Jesus here. It's not just about the end. It's not just about receiving that reward in heaven, but it's about experiencing Jesus now. It's about being with him now. What a gift. And that we can be a part of that work. Here the Levites were working for the Lord, and the Lord was saying, he was commanding all of the people to participate in that work. And when they participated in that work, that means that they were helping get the work of the Lord done. They were serving the Lord as well. And maybe they weren't doing it exactly the way the Levites were doing, because God had set them apart for a special service for himself. He said, they're mine, and I've got a special job for them. They're not going to receive an inheritance like everybody else. Theirs is going to look different, and theirs is going to be different, because I've taken from these tribes. He took out the tribe of Levi unto himself. God said, these are mine, and I've got a special plan and a special purpose, but y'all are all going to be able to participate, and we're going to participate by giving. And giving encourages that one that receives it. But I feel in my heart, it's, you've heard that, it's more blessed to give than to receive, and it really, really is. There's a special missionary, and I have actually a couple, but one that pops into my mind. And when I am giving to that mission work, I actually feel like that I am absolutely a part of everything that they do. That they do a food ministry, that they are helping other churches that they've started from, that's been birthed from their ministry. They give to those. They send out what they receive. They send that back out to others also. So they turn around and give that gift that they received, and they send it out, and they give a portion to everyone else as well. And so when I'm sending mine in, when I am, giving, what I do is I give mine through my local church, and that is therefore transferred to that missionary. And he receives it, 100% he receives it. And when he receives it, then I am encouraged, because I'm like, you know what? I'm part of it. I am part of this wonderful work that God is doing. And when I hear of things happening, then I am encouraged, because I'm like, Lord, thank you for letting me be a part of that. And I love serving the Lord. I love serving him. I don't begrudge it. It's not something that I dread. I don't dread coming to church. I don't dread, I look for opportunities to get to come to church. You can ask my husband. I'm like, can we go this afternoon? Would you want to go with me in the morning? And I'm looking for opportunities. I am absolutely looking for opportunities to come here and want to serve in any capacity. I've got something I want to do today. I want to put we have a nativity scene that I've not got put out yet, because there's a lot of lights missing, and I've got some lights gathered up, and I hope I have enough. I've asked the Lord, I don't even know if I can get them apart. But I'm wanting to serve the Lord even just by trying to get out the nativity, so that we're sharing the nativity with the neighborhood, that we're lighting it up over here at First Baptist Church Oklahoma. And we want the nativity. We celebrate Christmas. We celebrate it because of Jesus Christ, and we celebrate him. And I want to give that. I want to give that gift of sharing that. And so I'm excited to do that. When I finish the video for this morning, that's when I'm going to go out to the garage and get that out, and see if the Lord will help me get this figured out. And Lord willing, I've got enough bulbs, that I can replace those that are burnt out, and get this thing up and give that as a gift to the community. And so we're so many ways that we can give, but when you're giving, and it's an encouragement, give it out of love. And it's going to be an encouragement, not just to the recipient, but you're going to get the encouragement. You are going to be encouraged, because you're going to be part of a family. Thank you for joining me. I look forward to seeing you again soon.